Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to Unleashed Podcast Episode 6. Now, I know you guys are wondering what's happening here. You see something a little different going on here. We are together. Cheers. Yes.
Yay.
Yes, we are doing our February welcoming in heart health, love, and the whole month of love together. Yes. So you get the both of us and one screen. So it's today we're gonna be a little serious today. We're gonna talk about, although we're enjoying a nice glass of wine, one glass is good for the heart. They say that. So we're doing that because we are celebrating together. But we want to talk about, fierce numbers and the underrated health risks, especially for high achieving women. And that's so important. And we want to talk about why that matters. And it matters because of cardiovascular disease. And that's something we don't think about a lot of times as women. It's just so far from our thoughts in our day to day. But it is the number one cause of death in women, claiming about 1 out of 3 females' lives. Yeah, each year. And let me tell you, and this is going to be something that's probably very shocking, especially for some of us that has lost a lot of family members to cancer. It's even higher than the deaths in cancer, all of the cancers put together. That's just crazy. So let's think about that. And we're talking 44% of women, they don't even realize that they are potentially at risk. And a lot of that is because of lifestyle. Maybe, you're not thinking about going and getting the checkup because you're too busy.
I think a lot of it has to do with being busy.
Just being busy.
We don't think about it.
Yeah.
We're too busy trying to
take care of other people.
take care of other people and
Yeah.
run our world.
Run our businesses, make that money, make sure everybody else is okay. But it's a big disconnect because then we start ignoring those signs. And there's a lot of warning signs that comes with that.
Yeah.
Kimberly, why don't you explain some of those signs that happen?
Well, one of the things that you were talking about is 44% of women even recognize that heart disease is their top killer.
Yeah.
And I think that's really shocking for a lot
Right.
of people to even hear that,
Yeah.
and awareness is even lower among young adults, which no surprise there.
Right.
But also Black, Hispanic, and Asian women. And that is really shocking to me.
Yeah.
Just that we don't think about it. And, despite the progress in education, many clinicians still feel that they're not prepared to even assess women with their cardiovascular health. Scary, very scary. And, you know, we're seeing only 22% of even primary care doctors are able to do that. I think it's a conversation that we have to be our own advocate
Yes.
and bring that to the attention, especially if there's family health history in there.
Right.
And, stress is a number one cause, diet,
Absolutely.
lack of exercise, all of those things contribute to it. But
Absolutely.
we just have to be our own advocates in that. And that's why we wanted to talk about heart health.
Right.
Because when we think, February, we're like, Valentine's
Yeah.
Day, Galentine's Day.
Love,
and
love, love. Flowers,
love,
chocolate, and diamonds, right? But
It's all exterior. But
yes.
but we wanted to bring it to the
Yes,
inside.
to the inside.
To
Because,
self-care.
yes, in order to enjoy all those things, you have to love yourself, learn to love and take care of yourself, to be around to enjoy those things. And it starts with taking care of yourself. And you brought up the different ethnicities that are typically, stricken with a higher risk. And I believe a lot of that too is cultural because of foods, for one, the way foods are processed and made. We all know the history. If you know the history of a lot of the Blacks, the Asians, the Latinos, is how, food was not easy to come by, especially during slave trade and all the different things that were happening. You had scraps, you had lesser, you didn't have quality food. So, and that history and the way food was prepared was taught generation after generation. So, you get the high cholesterol, you have the fatty foods, you have the butter, you have all these things, the starches, that the sweets, because it's cheaper to make it, it's cheaper to get a hold of those type of foods, and thus those causes the high blood pressure, the high cholesterol, the diabetes, and on top of the health factor from eating the food with lesser quality, lesser, nutritions, poor food, you get the stress factor because you're stressing to get the bad food because you have a bad job and you don't have any money. So you're already stressing about that. So you have those stress factors on top of it that causes a lot of this. And then if you're just in a stressful situation because you're in a bad relationship or there's a financial stress or your health stress, you have all those stressors. And what typically happens is the women carry most of that responsibility and most of that stress within the household because we're the fixers. We're the fixers. We're the ones who's covering for the father or the man of the home for whatever reason, if he's the dad or the live-in or whatever the partner is. We're the one who's trying to stretch the food, who's trying to make the bills get paid, who's doing all the things to make sure the kids get to school and get educated and everything gets okay. And in the midst of all of that, we stop taking care of ourselves. And then again, we have nearly 46% of US women have high blood pressure. And high blood pressure, you're looking at 130 over 80. If you go to your primary and they're telling you you're at that range and you're climbing, you need to figure out what it is that's making that happen. Is it just a stressful situation or is it a medical issue? There's things that you can do, if it's a pregnancy, then that also can be scary because then you put you and the baby at risk in situations like that. So it's never okay. And there are medications that you can take to manage diabetes, cholesterol, high blood pressure, but you want to be consistent. You want to make sure you're checked and you want to make sure you stay on your meds and then see a dietitian. Make sure that that situation is taken care of because then it becomes chronic. And if it's chronic, you live with it for the rest of your life.
And I know you were kind of talking about the differences, but we started off the conversation with high achievers because that group of women, you're so focused on achieving the next thing, whether it's in family or in business,
Right.
you just forget about yourself. It's about everything else. And so we want to also make sure that we're pointing out there are so many different ways that
Ways.
can lead up to this
Yeah.
situation, and stress is one of them.
Right.
Even if you could have all the money in the world and still eat crap.
That's true.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah.
about taking care of yourself and what steps you can take, even just a walk. Like start with a
Yes.
10-minute walk. But some of the symptoms we wanted to talk about are shortness of breath, unusual fatigue, nausea, upset stomachs, um, pain in your jaw, your neck, your back, your upper abdomen, cold sweats or dizziness. I feel like sometimes I go through all of those in a day.
Right.
So we're not saying
Yeah.
be a hypochondriac. We're just
Yeah.
saying be aware of your
Yes.
body. You know your body the best. Nobody
Yes.
else does. So just be aware of these signs, and they could be super subtle. It's not the ones that we see in the Hollywood movies where they're just
Right.
like, oh,
Yeah.
it's not like that. And we tend to be very dismissive,
Yes.
of our pain anyway. So we're just asking that let's take care of your heart. Be
Yeah.
aware, be conscious of the signs that we could dismiss as stress or
Mm.
anxiety or indigestion,
Yeah. Yeah.
heartburn.
Exactly. And thank you for circling back around to the high achiever is and typically I think sometimes we become our worst enemy. I
Definitely.
mean, because the perfectionist is, I'm not going to allow this cold, this ache, stop me from this deadline, stop me from this board meeting, stop me from traveling, stop me from the kids whatever it is that they need to do, 500, what do you call those things, brownies for the bake sale, and you have to take them to, all the different games and, dance class and whatever, and still show up the next morning for a 7 o'clock meeting, so it's all those things that we want to do, and that we have just been conditioned to do, and that is our purpose because we're purpose driven and we want to be successful, and it's great to do all those things. But again, like Kimberly said, if you're not listening to your body when it's telling you it's time to take a seat, it will shut you down. I am so living proof of that. It will shut you down. And let me tell you, it would be the most unopportune time. It will not be pretty. You will have zero control of it. And, sometimes you don't come back from it. So you have to really, think, do I want to do this one more thing and may not be able to do any more things after that? Or do you want to say, wait a minute, let me go drink some water, take a rest, and I can do that later. I can do that next week, you know, and give your body a chance to heal. That's really important.
Absolutely.
I think it's, you start with just knowing your numbers, just knowing, is my cholesterol okay? Is my blood pressure okay? You check your glucose, you do all the things you need to do to make sure you're okay. And it's better to do that before it gets too severe. And I know no one wants to say, I gotta stick myself, I need to be on meds and I this and that. But if you do it now and you beat yourself to it and you go in and you take care of it and you get your nutrition right, exercise, proper sleep, alleviate the stress out of your life, get your nutrition right, get your vitamin levels up. It doesn't have to be a life turning event where it's something that you're on it forever. I have lots of clients that came in the door one way and left completely med free, 100 pounds lighter.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's very possible.
And there are ways you don't have to be wealthy of the wealthy to
No,
do this.
you
You can go
don't.
take a walk.
Yeah.
You can go get in the sunshine and you can start incrementally changing how you eat and
Yes.
create a lifestyle change about living intentionally and being aware. If you're so aware of your world and your business, let's be aware of our bodies as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that it's saying your body is your temple. It's not saying that to just, make a joke out of it. That is really serious. This is where it starts. This is where it starts.
We only have the one.
We only have the one. We only have the one. And if we destroy it, what good are we to anyone?
Exactly.
What good are we to the company, to your team, to your family, to your friends, your coworkers? What good are you? So to the high achievers, I know you have all the intentions to be good and do the right thing, but take care of you. You got to take care of you first and love yourself. That's more important.
So you were saying know your number. I think another one that's really important is sleep.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and get anything toxic away from you. That's him or her or them. I don't care.
Relationships in general.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're related to them or not.
Yes.
Like it's really important to
Mhm.
have that. And, there was a study that came out recently, Finnish study, and there's been multiple, but this one was fairly recent. And if you can find a sauna, and they have them at gyms for 10 minutes
Yeah.
a week, that significantly lowers your chance of cardiovascular disease.
Yeah.
Like the numbers are crazy and it even helps with dementia, but that's not this episode's. But just doing little things, tweaking little things in your
Mhm.
daily life can completely change your outcome for your life. And I think that's really important. And so I know as
Yes.
women striving for excellence,
Yes.
we measure, we plan, we optimize business and life,
Right?
But too
Yes.
often we skip the matrix that matter most for our health.
Which is us.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not something you can delegate or postpone,
No,
you know?
absolutely not.
Yeah.
and no one does it better than you.
Yeah.
So let's make 2026 and let's make it a promise to choose you,
Yeah.
get unleashed with your health and your heart and just do the right thing and be well because that's what I'm going to do. And salute.